I can't believe we did this so quickly. Welcome everyone to Wildwood Zoo. I hope you guys are all having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf and it's so great to have you guys back over here for the final tour. We didn't even do a midway tour. That's kind of how fast this project went by. So welcome everyone. This is Wildwoods Zoo. This is my sort of North American zoo with a few different animals which we'll kind of talk about when we get there. And yeah, this is kind of inspired from the Twilight pack. We got a lot of really awesome animals in there. And yeah, it's my Twilight pack zoo. Nothing really too crazy besides that. So obviously, you guys haven't seen much of the new changes in here ever since I finished the fallow deer exhibit. If you guys are just joining us over here, just ignore what I'm about to say. But I essentially did a little bit of off-camera building for some various elements in here. Nothing really too crazy, but I did build the parking lot and a little bit of the interior in there. So we're going to get started right away with how you would enter the zoo when you check it out on the workshop, which, by the way, it's on the workshop, so you guys can kind of, go subscribe to it, go rate it up, do everything you need to do. So I have 22 path markers in here, and you kind of start off with number 1, and I left out a few just because of logic reasons. You would kind of know where to go in terms of like this whole shebang. So we're gonna get started, and you enter this very nice kind of it's not really a good looking parking lot, but it's definitely a realistic parking lot. And pardon me if I just do a little bit of editing while we go throughout here. This is kind of my way to understand what needs to be fixed before I officially publish it on the workshop. But I do want to give a quick shout out when I do see stuff that was made by, really wonderful workshop creators. First of all, Christina made a wonderful font set over here. I think she made that for like her desert coffee house, and it works so well for our little sign over there. So in Wildwood Zoo, you enter through this beautiful welcoming building. And yeah, I have the tickets right over here, so you could come here, buy your tickets to the zoo. And then you could also get guest services in here as well. So let's just say, for example, if you need a wheelchair, they have them accessible for you right over there. So you can access those services if you so need to. And I just really do like this building's kind of look. I did really enjoy making these rafters up here. It's nothing too insane, but I really do like how it looks like from the outside. Of course, before we do get, kind of started, Miss Sandy made the wonderful fences that you'll see throughout this zoo. Really awesome creator. Haribo made the kayaking set. Lion made these wonderful signs, which it's kind of ironic that he's on a sign over there. So that's what I really want to touch base on. And as you enter the zoo, you could see that we have this beautiful little fall foliage set up. This is something I was super inspired by from the Twilight pack, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So while we do enter the zoo over here, I do want to say, if you guys do download the zoo, feel free to explore it at your own pace, at your own leisure. You can follow these little cornerstones over here, but if you so feel inclined to go towards the right, that is totally fine by me. So starting off over here at number 2, we have our raccoon exhibit, and these guys are a little tricky to see sometimes because they like to spend a lot of their time on the ground, ironically. But if we just go over here, we should be able to see that this guy, I believe his name is Marshmallow, named by Jay, from what I believe. We went through and named a whole bunch of these animals in the past, back when I was doing those speed builds. But this is Marshmallow, and I'm trying to move her out. So let me just move her right there, and I'll actually change it. Marshmallow. There we go. Okay. So Marshmallow has this side of the exhibit. We have another one right over there that we'll check out in a little bit. But she has this lovely little climbing frame, and I did this all custom. It was a super fun exhibit to make. And of course, she's able to access her indoor section as well right over there. But yeah, I really wanted to include a lot of the morphs of the animals in this zoo. You'll see that a lot once we actually do get towards, I don't know what happened right over there, but you'll see that a lot once we get towards the actual skunk exhibit and stuff like that. And the red fox exhibit, which is just a little bit up there. But yeah, we have our raccoons in there, so they're super adorable. I'm going to save this section towards the end once we actually get there. But right over here, we do have an animal talk point. So utilizing free build, I was able to sync an entire kind of seating setup down here. So you only have a few people over here, which is kind of how I wanted it. And I also sunk one of these animal talk points in here. And they do use the fire salamander, because that's an animal I felt like would be very appropriate for this kind of section. So we do have that over there for our guests to kind of witness. But unfortunately, none of the guests are actually experiencing a kind of animal talk show right now, so that kind of sad. But over here, we are making our way to our European badgers. And now this is already off to a great start. I'm sure you guys have maybe been saying, Leaf, why are you putting European badgers in an American zoo based on like American animals? Well, I'm utilizing some animals that really have partners in America, so that you could probably imply that, you know, if we did officially have American badgers, they would probably be in here, but unfortunately we don't. But these guys tend to love their habitat all the same, and unfortunately one of these guys is stuck on the interior right here, so I'm gonna move him out. And yeah, his name is Sander. Super cute. But these guys have a nice, realistically sized enclosure. A lot of the times in my builds, I do like to do realistic size enclosures more often than not. And I don't really like to do big, kind of, you know, overly big habitats. So I think this is a perfectly good enough size for our little badger boys. And over here, we just have a nice little seating area in case if you want to watch them. Then over here to our left, we have our red fox exhibit. Well, one of them at least. So of course, since the red foxes have at least like, you know, 8 different morphs, I think, I really wanted them to have a nice big exhibit and a nice big compound. In this exhibit, I was super proud of. They have just a little bit of climbing frames, because red foxes, while they don't really need it in Planet Zoo, they can climb in real life. So that's something I did want to include for them. Not really anything like a primate climbing frame, but definitely something that would allow them the chance to kind of, you know, just explore their habitat a little bit. Seems like our only red fox in this exhibit is kind of sleeping over there, so we'll just leave him be. But naturally, you're kind of guided over here to number 4. That was number 3 back there. And then over here, you can actually see both of the other complexes. There's one back there. And in this one over here, we have our melanistic red fox. Just a nice black morph on those. And there should be another one in here. I think the piebald is in here. But still, like a realistic zoo, you're not really guaranteed to see everything whenever it does happen. So yeah, unfortunately we don't see that one today. But I also have bathrooms over here, just in case if a guest does need to go to the bathroom. I really want to include those all throughout the zoo, and I think I did a pretty good job at like realistically navigating how many bathrooms would be in a zoo like this. I also have our Eurasian lynx over here, and you can see them right up there. Again, ideally, I would love for these guys to be like Canadian lynx or bobcat or something, but these guys are more than worthwhile welcome addition to this little park, so I was very happy to get these guys in here. Really beautiful animal, and I was super excited with this exhibit. I used one of the Frontier blueprints for this little watchtower over here, and I think it adds a nice area of depth to the habitat that I feel like it really wouldn't be there if we just went like plop, and then it would just be a normal like corn crib aviary. But no, I think it adds just a little bit more for little to nothing. So there we go. And of course throughout the zoo you'll see a whole bunch of leaves, and you'll see a whole bunch of pumpkins. I designed this ideally with the fall theme in mind. So obviously I made use of all the pumpkins that we got in both conservation, as well as the Twilight pack. And luckily enough for us, we could see our next animal right over here. Here we have the Formosan black bear. Again, another stand-in species. I would have much preferred to have a normal black bear, American black bear specifically, in this exhibit, but here are 2 bears over here, and I'm very happy with their exhibit too. I was able to utilize free build to get this enrichment item to be poking off of here, so you could probably witness these guys kind of like clawing at that little roller thing. I thought that would be a really fun addition to have. Obviously they wouldn't do it, but yeah, it's something I thought would be such a cute little feature. We kind of make our way through this little bit of a cave piece. It was kind of inspired by Stone Zoo as well as Buttonwood Park Zoo. They have lovely bear habitats that I was very inspired by. And this section is no exception. Try saying that 5 times fast. I added a little bit of a waterfall over here, nothing really too crazy, but from the guest perspective, I wanted it to feel like you were nice and enclosed, like you were looking into a nice little cave area. If it were snowing out, I would assume that this area would have like heaters or something. At least that's why I'm kind of lore building over here, like heated rocks. A lot of zoos actually do that. So you could probably see your bears kind of taking a little bit of a nap over here. And moving on throughout here, we also have this section as well. Nothing really too crazy. You got a big climbing frame right over there. You got a nice view of that, and you could actually see all the way through to the other side of the habitat. Very happy with how that all worked out. Now over here, I just added well, I always like to add these small little features. The big gorilla statue is made by my buddy Squatch. He's a really big monkey fan, so I don't know. I wanted to include that over there in case if anyone complains that there's no monkeys in the zoo. And again, you'll notice these familiar motifs throughout the zoo. I wanted this zoo to feel like it's a place where you could go with the family, a place where you could probably go and picnic, and that's something I thought was super important. So you have this picnic area overlooking the lake, and you can see we have some kayaks out there. That is just a really easy way to kind of get, guests active and stuff like that, as well as fill in that area that I feel like would have been boring otherwise. And we'll just kind of zoom ahead over here utilizing shift. And then we're brought over to number 7. So when I was making this zoo, we had the anniversary of Planet Zoo come out. And of course, I had to make room for the red deer, otherwise known as a stag. These guys are super beautiful. And I'm really happy with how well their exhibit turned out. Easily one of my favorite exhibits in this zoo, actually. Normally, you wouldn't have this level of terrain change in a zoo. Well, specifically for deer, but I'm kind of working with it. Let's just say, for example, they already had this area planned out for something else, but it really didn't work out too well, so they kind of just threw the deer there. That's kind of what I expected with this kind of habitat, but they have a nice little terrace look, and it's super awesome when they all kind of congregate in their herds and stuff. It's just super nice. And of course, we have those feeders by leader. Feeder by leader, that is one of my favorite sayings to say. Leader made a wonderful feeder set, in case if you guys haven't seen that yet. Really realistic too. So in case if you guys are making zoos or anything like that, that is a must-have in case if you're going for realism. Now, of course, this one might shock you, or at least it might kind of trick you. But number 8 is right over here. And again, I wanted to have these animal talks all over the zoo, but I only managed to have 2 different sections, but this one is probably one of my favorites. So you sit over here and you overlook the lake, and the educators will come out and they'll hold the animals out over here. So I believe I have the diamondback terrapin, which is a native herptile, and we also have the giant tiger land snail. Obviously, you could probably sub that in for another larger type of snail from America, or maybe a slug. But that's something I want to include over here. And you have these nice little seating areas. Nothing really too crazy, of course, but I still wanted to include these guys over here, so I'm very happy with that. And yeah, what a nice view, right? I just love this. So looking out across the water, especially if you get like the right lighting time of day, it looks super beautiful, especially when you're like looking out over there. Always do love that, and like the color of the trees really do help out so much. So as you make your way throughout here, you'll be greeted by a lot more bigger exhibits. And this is something I really wanted to include towards the back of the zoo, because this is really just more natural space than the front of the zoo. And I'm super proud of it too. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So starting off our little tour, in the nature section, really more than anything else, is our moose exhibit. These guys have a huge expansive exhibit with a beautiful waterfall that hopefully we can actually see the moose come out of the water. but looking at these guys in the water, it's just a marvel to behold. And of course, I have this waterfall back there. It's not made out of like waterfall pieces, but rather it's made out of the rapids pieces. So you get this really awesome look of very rapidly moving water. And I just really like that so much more than like any other waterfall technique. I don't know. I just really like it. And of course, the foliage is nothing to be snuffed at over here. It took me a bit to really get my groove on for this entire foliage section. But I think I was able to settle on a really nice vibe, especially with these. I think these are the Himalayan pines. Yeah, with the Himalayan pines all throughout here. Obviously, I would rather have them be like eastern white pines or something like that. Something native to the area, but I thought it really was super awesome just to have this area feel a little bit more dynamic than the rest of the zoo, and be very much a monoculture of what trees are growing over here. And of course, you get another big view into like the land area of the moose, so they have all these nice little walking trails, and you can get another view at the waterfall over there. I think I want to get rid of this tree. I think it kind of like ruins the view of that waterfall, so I think I'm just gonna move those aside. You see, I'm doing all these little small edits. That's why I'm very happy to be going throughout here with you guys. Also, the moose like to walk on those rocks over there, which is so weird. But making our way throughout here, you can start to see that we have a holding area for the moose as well as the fallow deer right over here. And if you get a glimpse down into here, you could see our actual food court area is starting to take shape. But right over here is the last exhibit that we actually built. It is the European fallow deer exhibit. Again, another stand-in animal. Ideally, I would have loved to have had white-tailed deer or something. But a lot of zoos around here actually do have fallow deer. They're a relatively easy to maintain species, so it's very realistic for zoos to have them. So it could either go either way. But these guys have a really nice exhibit. Obviously, nothing as crazy as a moose habitat, but I did want it to feel nice and naturalistic. So I have a whole bunch of water in here. I have a whole bunch of like dead trees and stuff that they could rub themselves on. And again, more feeders for the deer. We gotta keep them fed somehow, you know? So making our way throughout here, we start to get into a lot more of the fun stuff. A lot more of the guest experience, which I always feel like is super important to have in your zoos. You're not just building for animals, you're really building for guests. When it all comes down to it, guests are the #1 way to make money in your zoo. There's really no other way to. So I really wanted to include a nice big food court for our guests. And you can see, unfortunately, no one's using it right now. Maybe once you guys open up the park on your own files and kind of increase the guest limit, you could actually see that they'll probably make good use out of this place. But of course, we have a small little milkshake shop. And I think we also have Mexcellente. Yeah, we do have Mexcellente. So we have all this room for your guests to really sit down, enjoy their meals, and just kind of vibe in this small little area. And of course, I forgot to mention, I am building in the tundra biome. So obviously your guests are going to be a little bit cold throughout here. Nothing really I could do about that. Unfortunately, our guests don't really dress for the weather. But I don't know. What can you do, you know? So down here, just as a small little detour, I do have the kayak area. And I did set up this vista point, even though it seems like no guests are really using it. It just leads to nothing except for a nice view of the water. So if you did want to pop down to the water side, you can actually do that. And one of my favorite things I did in here is a trick that Mr. Wyatt Andrews actually figured out. So he actually was able to figure out that you could use the faux rocks in order to create this kind of like beautiful looking gradient effect with the water. So essentially you start off with light and then you make your way down through green to blues. And it just looks super awesome, especially when you're like viewing it from above. You'll see a lot more of that once we actually do hit the rest of the aquatic animals. But I just always thought that was super cool. Again, another huge shout out to Haribo for these beautiful blueprints. Really awesome pieces. I can't believe the level of detail he was able to get into these. But as we kind of trot our way through the rest of the zoo, we can see that we're kind of greeted by these two big enclosures. So starting off over here, we do have the North American cougar. Really beautiful animal. Easily one of my favorite animals to see in a zoo. just really impressive animal to begin with. I always do love seeing like North American cats, and these guys really aren't any exception, except for the fact that I can't see them. So let's just pop into their exhibit a little bit. Again, I really do like the idea that cougars get nice long exhibits. Along with snow leopards, our cougar is actually right over there, so we can check them out. But I really do like the idea that they have nice, long, expansive exhibits as they could kind of like run and kind of climb their way throughout it. But you can see we do have the cougar just chilling right up on that log over there. It really does love that little spot. But we do have a whole bunch of enrichment in there for these guys. And again, kind of refactored from the Eurasian lynx habitat, but I made it a lot bigger. And as you can see, we also have this little overhang area. So you guys can kind of like just pop a squat right over here and just watch these guys climb and stuff. I really do like it though. Gave them a nice little enclosed enclosure, which I don't really do enclosures that have netting on the top anymore. So that was a very good change. And speaking of enclosures, we're actually seeing an exhibit over here. Again, these are for our Egyptian fruit bats. Again, this whole zoo was made for the Twilight pack in mind. So we have the fruit bats in here. And yeah, I just really wanted it to feel like a barn kind of, or maybe like a, I don't really know. I just really wanted to make a classic bat walkthrough enclosure. I've never been in a walkthrough bat enclosure. So if this doesn't look like it, I apologize. But yeah, you have all the bats around here. They do their little thing. These guys will drink out of there. You also have kind of like albinos everywhere. So I made sure to add a few albino bats throughout here because I thought that'd be super fun to have as well. And I just like the view from the outside as well. I saw someone on Facebook actually made like their own recreation of this, and it was super humbling. So if you're out there, if you post it on Facebook, I liked your post. I hope you know that. But yeah, I really do like everything in this exhibit, and it was super fun. Makes me super excited for butterflies to come soon. That's a really fun addition that I haven't really been able to talk about all too much, so that is going to be super awesome. So, leading our way over here to 16, I apologize if I've been skipping numbers. But 16 over here will lead you to the overview for the beavers. So, of course, we have the North American beavers in here, and they have a nice realistic habitat. Really rocky, but with a whole bunch of water. And we'll actually check out some of that stuff in a bit. But again, just another view into the water section over here. Just a really nice sight line that I'm super proud of. Super proud that I was able to maintain that, because I always throw in so much stuff that like I always forget about it. I love that hat. Oh my god, can we talk about that? That's so funny. Okay, I've never seen that hat before. Planet Zoo, if you ever come out with more merch, please make that hat into a real thing. But yeah, here's our beaver enclosure. Nothing really too crazy. Again, I like to build smaller because when you build smaller, you build more realistic. So these guys have a nice expansive enclosure. I really do like the fact that you're able to actually see the other viewing area right over there. And yeah, these guys just have a nice little exhibit. And if you guys want to go check out some behind the scenes stuff, check this zoo out on the workshop, and you could actually look behind there and see what's happening. So this would naturally bring you over here to our Asian small clawed otter exhibit. Again, this would be an animal that I would replace with North American river otter, but I still am super happy with this exhibit. Otters don't really, they need a lot of land space, I've learned. And this area, even though it has a small amount of land space, they would need just a little bit more, but I think you guys will forgive me for that. Still a really nice exhibit that I'm super proud of. And look at this little waterfall technique. I don't know, I just thought that was super cute. It was using the jets from the enrichment tab. So if you guys want to recreate that, you can definitely try that out. And here we go to like my favorite enrichment thing. Unfortunately, there are no kids in the... Actually, no, maybe the kids will actually use it. Okay, maybe they won't. But the kids can actually use this little enrichment thing. And the idea is that the fact that they would push that down and then the skunk would spray them. I thought that'd be a cute little addition right there. But speaking of skunks, here is the little skunk exhibit. Super proud of this one too. They have a nice little burrow in here, which I don't think anyone's using. Unfortunately, the skunks like to stay on the inside more than anything else. So we have all these little skunky boys in here. We have an albino one as well. And they have a whole bunch of boxes to play with too. So in case of, you know, they want to put fruit or stuff in there, they could kind of play around with it too. And right behind us, we do have the American bullfrog. Again, nothing too crazy. It's just a simple exhibit from Planet Zoo. I'm very happy with this though, and I think I'm going to change this out over here. It's just going to be a 2D facade because I don't want to release like a kind of Google Drive for just one piece of billboard. So we'll just keep that as that. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that should be it. And then again, our small little seating areas for everyone to come over here, enjoy any snacks they might have taken to the zoo, enjoy any lunch they might have taken. Really happy with that. And I also have the rest of the raccoons over here as well. We have a normal morph and we have a melanistic morph. Really adorable little creatures. Oh my gosh. But yeah, very happy with this exhibit too. Very small, very simple. Raccoons, they don't really need too much, but I was super happy with how well that one came out. And again, this is going to guide you over here to post number 20. So you kind of make your way all throughout here, and then we'll just speed it up a little bit. You get another view into yet another red fox enclosure. These guys are what morphs are these ones? Can I actually view this? Okay, so we have the albino over here, and we also have the silver fox, I think that is. But yeah, nice simple creatures. Very, very nice little creatures. And again, this one is something I built off camera. This is our little gift shop. So of course, huge shout out to Just Goron. Huge shout out to Keyboard Keeper. And yeah, that is really it. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I have this little gift shop over here. Where you could kind of come over here, buy some little toys, buy some little creatures, buy some little pots, buy some little paper mache dolls. Really adorable little place, and the guests can actually use this as well, which is really awesome. It's just great. But that brings you out here, and that, believe it, my friends, is it for Wildwood Zoo. This was a really fun project. Oh my gosh, it's probably one of my favorite zoos I've actually built so far. It's right up there with Boggy Bottom. So I want to thank you guys once again for your support on the channel for, you know, literally everything. You guys have been one of the best communities out there. And I hope we were able to end the Twilight pack with just a really, really awesome zoo. I hope you guys were able to build some really awesome stuff with the Twilight pack as well. I still need to brainstorm what I'm going to be doing for the Grasslands DLC, so don't expect anything too crazy just yet. I have some ideas I'm fiddling with right now, but I'm not sure how they're going to end up. But still, all things being said, I do want to thank you guys one last time. Wild Woods is now on the workshop, so in case if you guys do want to check this zoo out, you guys can explore it. You guys can steal all the blueprints from here, because like I'm saying right over here, I think we're finished. So thank you guys so much for stopping by. We'll end it with this nice overview. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Check out the rest of the series if this is your first time watching a Wildwood Zoo, because I do some very fun speed builds. And I kind of talk about my process in making all these exhibits as well. So yeah, that's really it. Thank you so much for stopping by. You guys are the best. And I'm just repeating myself at this point. Have the most wonderful of wonderful days. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Later. Bye-bye.